What's a sign that somebody wasn't raised right? They don't take responsibility for their actions. You give them a lift and they leave rubbish in your car. How they treat people from whom they have nothing to gain. The word no just means throw a fit and be as obnoxious as you can be until you get your way. No does not mean that rules are rules or someone's job might be on the line. They're the important one, not anyone else. If they make messes in public areas and just wander off, leaving trash in the theater. Not flushing. Leaving the cart in a parking space. Edit. Forgot the theater thing is the norm in Britain. I meant in general. Leaving a mess where it's not supposed to be. Disrespecting people for doing their job. Lack of personal accountability. They can never admit wrongdoing on their part. It's always someone else's fault. Not respecting personal boundaries. If you're wondering why someone has these sorts of issues, take a look at their parents. One rule for me, one rule for you. Parents that mess up on the discipline, accountability stage of parenting produce these people. Who are the guys who spit out their chewing gum into urinals? I see this all the time at work, and I work in a high-end corporate place. Do they think it dissolves and goes down the pipe? The janitor has to pick that out. How they act as a boss when their employee messes up. Yelling and belittling shouldn't be your first option. They always portray themselves as a victim. Nothing is ever their fault and somebody is always out to get them. How they treat animals and people without power. They litter. If you throw your shit on the floor, then you have 1, no respect, and 2, you're a tramp. I'd say on the other end of the spectrum. If someone is anxious about simple social interactions, like sharing their opinions. I know a few of these types of people. And they tend to have one or more of the following traits. They are disrespectful to everyone. Not just authority figures. Watch how they treat customer service or retail staff. They have no manners in general. Or only use manners when they absolutely have to in order to preserve their own interests. They are cruel to people and/or animals. And laugh at the suffering of others. They are selfish. They destroy things, steal, and cheat. Some also commit more serious crime. They expect handouts from everyone. They shirk hard work and responsibility whenever they can. They complain a lot, and constantly act like they are a victim. They are terrible parents to their own children. Someone that does things to intentionally hurt another person's feelings after they've expressed that certain thing hurts their feelings. They never say please or thank you. They leave trash in theater and state that it's the employee's job to clean up their mess. They whistle, snap their fingers, or make that PS sound to get their server's attention in a restaurant. Not putting the cart back at the grocery store. Turning conversation back to themselves at all cost. Being a good listener is a sign of a person raised well. Edit. To clarify, I don't mean quiet or a doormat. I mean generous, empathetic, supportive and curious. Good follow-up questions without making it about oneself, etc. I'm gonna answer this literally. As a teacher, I see there's a lot of different values that go into parenting styles. Some that aren't my values but still raise a productive, responsible, and successful child. But there is evidence of bad parenting from a child development point of view. Is extra clingy and implies or outright states you're their sole custodian for their well-being. Is incredibly aggressive about getting their way or being correct all the time. Responds to slights or inconveniences violently. Is extremely withdrawn and doesn't care for self. On the flip side, is very self-sufficient from a very young age and also has anxiety and/or depression. Seeks attention constantly. Not just a lot, but constantly. Obviously, the child abuse signs are indicators of not being raised right. And only apply here to actual children. But it never hurts to remind people of them. Has suspicious bruising, injuries on body where it's not normal to have injuries, X. Bruised forehead and skinned knees are normal on toddlers. Black eyes are not. Carefully covers parts of the body that would not normally be covered, X. Won't roll up sleeves even a little on hot days, which bonus is also a sign of self-harm. Is inappropriately sexual and/or knowledgeable about sexuality for age group. Is weirdly afraid to be alone with another person. Not just, I don't want to go home because my dad's gonna give me a whoopin' for starting a fight at school. But something like finding a lot of excuses to not hang out with an older cousin ever. is often dirty, stinky, soiled, is often underfed, tells you they are being abused. I took this way too seriously. But there you go. Edit. People are commenting with personal situations that involve the warning signs of child abuse I mentioned, but aren't child abuse in their case. This is what makes it so hard to detect. Kids are always bruised, stinky, and secretive. What's important is to keep an open mind and sort of observe a pattern of signs and behaviors. If alarm bells go off, our first impulse is to explain it away. But making an anonymous tip is not as harmful as people believe. In my experience, nothing is even investigated until the reports pile up unless you physically witness the abuse. Edit 2. Just to be clear, the first list just means the parents or household should be better to optimally encourage the wellness of a child. The second is of warning signs of abuse. In their spare time they dress up like a bat and beat up the mentally ill. They apologize for every little thing. Probably a sign that they grew up with abusive parents that got mad over anything and everything. We know someone that won't get a checking account, direct deposit because the banks just steal your money. And he takes his paycheck to a check cashing, payday loan shop instead. We also know his mom, who is in her mid-40s and on her third bankruptcy. Edit. Not discounting the likelihood that mom destroyed his credit long ago and still would empty his account today if given the chance, which still falls in the raised wrong category if you ask me. But we're talking about a 20-year-old guy living with mom, no rent, no car, no kids that shouldn't have any substantial debts, expenses of his own to make overdraft fees an issue. They don't know how to do normal household stuff. I've seen people that don't even know how to make their own coffee or clean a toilet. Edit. I only mentioned making coffee as an example. If you don't know how to make coffee because you don't drink it, that's fine. They don't actually listen to what you're saying. Are just trying to formulate a response. Edit. Thanks for the upvote smiley face. Edit 2. Just want to clarify what I meant. The person I'm thinking of who does this as a means of not really caring about your opinion. Trying to make you look inferior. And rather than listening to why you feel the way you do, they want to try and just prove you wrong. I hope that makes sense. Like not being interested in having a discussion. More interest in showboating their own opinions, beliefs, experiences. I think that makes someone selfish. Therefore maybe not raised right. I could be wrong. They don't say thank you to food servers. Someone brings you food. You say thanks. It ain't hard. They use suicide threats as manipulation. Littering. God damn fucking littering. They act like mental illness is something you can just get over. They one-up you all the time. Always pay attention to how someone treats service industry workers, animals, and young children. People who don't offer to help you clean up when they are visiting you. Like having friends over and them leaving you with all the beer bottles, bowls and glasses on the table. I don't mind cleaning up, but I always offer when at someone else's house. You make the mess together. They don't put their shopping cart in the proper place when they're done with it. They cannot take responsibility for their actions. If they have zero manners. Inviting themselves to others people's homes or gatherings. Edit. This is now my most liked comment on Reddit. Thanks internet people. We lost a beloved pet today. One of our friends said time to get another. Today this happened today. I'm not sure if he's stupid, insensitive or just an ass. No, we're not friends anymore. If you go to someone's house and they cook for you, you eat it with a big smile and lots of thanks. Even if it was garbage. My wife brought her friend over for lunch. I made pierogies. She goes, that's not a meal. That's a side, and goes to get Quiznos. Blew me away. Someone's hospitality is the deepest respect they can show you. You have to give it back. How conscientious you are of that scenario is a good sign on how you were raised. Chewing with their fucking mouth open. When they say that they deserved being physically abused. They don't ask about. Say hi to your family members when they come over. I've seen people completely ghost my parents as they walk through the house, and I couldn't wrap my head around it honestly. Edit. I realized that a lot of people actually may be forced into this by any form of anxiety or any mental issues, traits they have. I just want to clarify that this is not targeting those people at all. Just the people that straight out were never taught that this isn't polite or knew that and never acted on it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.